Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey. I'm Gina Colvario Krupka, and I am blessed to be the host of this show and as well as the Peace Circle on Monday nights. This show, Finding the Joy in the Journey, is here to do just that. We are here to recognize that joy is inherent, that it is an absolute attribute of divine that cannot be changed. Therefore, it is always present within us, always accessible, but we don't always recognize it and we're not always experiencing it. Beauty isn't once we get there, it's all the way. It's finding that joy along the way, not destination happiness. Well, when I have this, then I can be happy. When I have the right job, when I have the right, when I have the right mate, when I have enough money, when I've taken that vacation, when I get that car. It's not about a destination. It's right here, right now. So we are here every week and we get the opportunity to have discussions and talk to people in different modalities about how it is that they find and create and allow for more joy in their lives. And today's guest is someone that I love and has been on here before. So thankful that they are back with us. They are here today to be in the joyful journey. Today's guest is Rev Steph St Amand, and she's the co-founding spiritual director of One Love Awakening, which is a virtual community devoted to bridging hearts, awakening minds, and transforming lives. Called to spread the message of love and self-acceptance. Rev Steph is a spiritual leader, international speaker, content creator, and author. Found in the award-winning best-selling book, Navigating the Clickety-Clack, How to Live a Peaceful Life in a Seemingly Toxic World, Volume 3. Rev Steph is an ordained minister with Centers for Spiritual Living and a cultivator of radical joy. What's better than that? She's in the right place. Living in their joy, they make spiritual practice a global experience with their long-lasting live stream, Wake Up and Say Thank You, empowering and inspiring the journey of self-discovery, purpose, and awakening hearts to the infinite power within them every weekday morning for the past 5 years. Drawn to science of mind and tapping into the power that is greater than, Rev Steph has experienced radical personal transformation and healing through the embodiment of its teachings. So from One Love Awakening, coming to us from Canada, the beautiful Rev Steph, welcome. Welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, and it's good to be back. And I'll just say it, just being in your presence can bring someone joy. Oh my goodness, Gina, you are a bucket of joy, and I'm so grateful to spend time with you. Thanks for having me.
I feel the same way. I do. I feel the same way. It's an interesting times that we're living through, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Really interesting times, and sometimes that can look different than we choose.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on? Share with us what is going on in your world these days.
What's going on?
It's an exciting time.
Yeah, it is. Well, yes, it is. I mean, we've so One Love Awakening. August 3rd, I will be celebrating 5 years of Wake Up, Say Thank You, and so every weekday morning for the past 5 years has been.
Let viewers know that haven't had that. I mean, especially on the network, people know you can still find her every weekday all through this month, and you can find you are on YouTube and Facebook. You can find the show. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell our listeners where they can find you and what is it about? How long is it? What is the format? Because to me, it's exciting and it's different. It's a burst of joy.
It is a burst of joy. It was birthed actually from just me waking up one morning, just in done with fear. I had been living in fear. I have a history of chronic anxiety disorder, and so 5 years ago, I wanted to grow my ministry, and it wasn't going. We started a ministry in a small community in southern BC, and we were doing really well. But I have quite a big personality, and so I wanted more. I wanted to expand, and I knew that fear was limiting my growth because I was afraid to go on live and just speak truth. And so one morning I just woke up, and almost 5 years ago, August 3rd, I woke up and I said enough, and I literally had a conversation with fear, and I broke up with fear. I was like, this relationship isn't working for me. I'm going to have to kick you to the curb. And we had a very loving a loving conversation, and that morning I went live on Facebook for the very first time. And so it was 2 minutes and just get on, get off, right? It was like, here's what I wanted to do. And then I was like, well, isn't fear ridiculous? Fear was holding me back from doing that, And so I just started this journey of I started a spiritual practice every weekday morning. Originally it was at the 8:30, and now it's at 8 a.m. And so it's affirming life's good together, and discovering really that the divine substance is in the sticky and the sweet. And if we are putting labels on things, we are doing that. God hasn't labeled anything for us. We give everything meaning. And so affirming life's good is to just wake up every single morning. I'm breathing. I got something to do today. So this is the day. This is the gift we get to unwrap. And whether it's sticky or hard or soft and joyful, it is all divine. And so for 5 years, I've been doing this practice, and I've shared the space with a few people in this 5 years, but otherwise I have not missed a day. And so Wake Up Say Thank You is going on hiatus for August, and something more wants to be called and birthed now. I've lived that experience and expression for 5 years. I don't do anything for that long. So I'm open to whatever spirit wants to create through me in a new way.
I applaud you, because how courageous is it when you've done something, you're in that routine of, and what will people think, and what will people say, and how do you? And there's so many, there's fear in not doing what you've always done. When we get in that routine of, so I applaud you. You've more than quote unquote earned your time of liberation in this for this time.
Yeah.
But isn't it exciting to not need someone to say it's okay?
Well, and that is a part of the journey. It's been going for 5 years, and there are, when you're live and you're having an experience there, you're open to the experience of other people's opinions.
Yes.
And aren't we just this human condition? Aren't we just so blessed with so many opinions? And so there was a time.
You word that so well.
Yep. Oh yeah, very diplomatic.
So many people's opinions.
So many people's
Diversity
opinions.
looks differently. It really does. It looks differently in a lot of people's eyes, and especially in their words. So Yes, thank you.
So there was a period of time, when you're still growing and you're still doing your own personal healing work while trying to engage in your life's call and, fulfilling your spark of divinity into this world. There's still healing and work that's being interwoven into that. And so all of that sticky stuff that's happening in other people's opinions, like, you talk too fast. I would prefer you do this and this and this. And I thank you so much for your glorious opinion. When you are me, you can do as I do. When I am you, I can do as you do. And there's so much going on in this world right now. There's so many places to find your people and your community and those that resonate with you. We don't have to share our every opinion just because like you had a thought doesn't necessarily mean you have to share that thought. And so spiritual practice and all of that is truly interwoven into learning who you are, learning how you respond and engage with what's happening. And it has nothing to do. These are angels typing freely into their little devices. And we have the power to use that material or distill it somewhere else. And that's a part of the journey too. That's a part of deeply understanding who you are and what is yours to do.
It's a process. It's a process. So much of what you said could be unpacked. So many things that I'm like, whoa, I'm going to go back. I'm like, whoa, like sensory overload. I'm like, but and then I'm like, okay. You said you broke up with fear. Okay. There's actually a song that I love that's called it's called the breakup song. And it starts with fear you don't own me. And the whole song is breaking up with fear. And it's a great song. It's actually Francesca Battistelli, I believe is the last name, but it's called the breakup song. So anybody that needs to break up with fear, that has had enough, and I had a conversation with a minister this morning, and she's wonderful, and just actually Rev Shari, who's on the prayer team, as well as many other things, very active in CSL. And we were talking about fear and how it's so rampant right now. It masks itself as many different things. Our world, we were chatting and you're like, well, what do we really, is there a specific? And I said, honestly, I want to talk about oneness and duality. There's, the truth is that there is only love. There is only God. There is only spirit, whether you call it energy, whether you call it whatever it may be, there's only love. And that one love, the only way we have fear is a seeming blockage. It didn't go anywhere. The sun didn't move. We move away from the sun, but the sun never moves. So it's realizing that love is always there. And that's the oneness, no matter what. And everything else is fear.
Yeah.
Any ugly emotion, anything anger or against, it's all like we're always afraid somebody's going to take something from us, or that someone's going to did or will or should, would, could. All of that is just a seeming blockage of. So let's talk about that. Tell me about what your experience of duality is.
Yeah, duality. Well, for me, I say a belief in separation is all suffering. If I believe that I am separate, that's the only way that I can feel suffering or pain. And in my life, when I am feeling suffering or pain, it is because I have separated myself from the Holy Spirit or the divine infinite intelligence that knows greater than I do. And so duality, the Course in Miracles talks about giving everything meaning. We give everything meaning. And so even the concept of love, unconditional love, looks different than what we want unconditional love to look like. We want it to feel gushy and lovey and like a big warm embrace. We're wrapped in this cloudy presence of goodness. And unconditional love might look like, get out of my house, right? Because unconditionally loving yourself while you're in an abusive relationship, you don't have to turn to loving presence. I need to be loving presence so that this person can continue to abuse me. You're loving presence because you have the strength within you. You are divinity, and there's no one should ever raise a hand to you, right? So loving, unconditional love doesn't always look like kittens and rainbows, and that can be a challenge, right? So we think that unconditional love is actually duality, because we're having to separate ourselves from a situation or a person. And the most important thing is putting on your oxygen mask first. If there's something externally going on that is harmful, then inside of you, what is it where you can find peace, where you can find love, where you can find joy in and of yourself? Because the only moment is now, and the only presence is God. And so if we're feeling separate, it doesn't mean that you have to become one with that situation or person that's causing you harm. It's that you have to return to oneness within yourself, because you have stepped away from the true Holy Spirit that is you. And so that's suffering, pain in my life has always been a belief that I am separate, or that I am not worthy of wholeness that I already am. I always think about the footprints, the poem,
Oh, yes.
Footprints, right? And that, like, God, why have you forsaken me, when I only see one set of footprints? Well, it's not. You're not alone. You're never alone. You are one with the whole. And so let spirit carry you. If you're struggling, if you're in a place of pain or suffering, let spirit do the heavy work. Because if we're experiencing suffering and pain, it means we're trying to do all the work ourselves and forgetting who we are and what has made us, what we're made up of.
So true and well said. And that when you first said, it made me get out of my house, that can also mean a parent to a child that's saying, I'm not here to carry you. It's not their job. We are not here to carry anyone. We are here to live, spread our wings, and fly, not carry everyone else. And for those of you like myself that were raised as a people pleaser, as a caretaker, it was almost like you were bad if you were doing this. That to be a good girl, I needed to make you happy. And I found my worth through making others happy. And that wasn't my worth. It was only a perception of what I was taught.
Yeah.
And the truth is, my divine worth is inherent. As a child of divine, I was born worthy. There's nothing I need to do but simply ask and receive. But it doesn't mean it's going to look like you said, like we want it to. It doesn't mean that there aren't problems, that there isn't grief. It doesn't mean that there aren't tragedies, that there aren't things that happen in the world that we can't explain. And it's so important, especially in our teaching, where we really look at the world and say, okay, what do I make of that? We don't pray it away, deny it, and not watch the news, but knowing that we get a choice of seeing, but not being.
Yeah. Yeah, it's most of our life we are born with all the information we could possibly have stored inside of us, and then we spend our informative years learning everybody else's really bad habits. And then once we find our faith or our teaching, we get to unlearn and unpack and distill and devolve all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
You know, we are definitely born knowing, and then that joy, that carefree spirit of childhood. It's grow up. We're told. We get
yeah.
all these mixed messages of responsibility, and that's not. You know, it's our authentic self is pure love. And
hmm
it's learning how to go back to that authentic self, which is within us. And I just want to mention we are live. So I would love for anyone that's out there to ask us questions. If you have comments, let us know. We are live here today. And I am here today with Rev Steph St Amand, who is, you have your own ministry, and it is a oneloveawakening.com is how you can find more information about that. And I want to make sure I put that out there.
Yeah.
And
There's that awakening there.
it was in there wrong.
Yeah.
Aha. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. That we're not
They
perfect.
could, yeah, it's Google. You could Google it. I'm Googleable.
Oneloveawakening.com. So funny. All right. I think I fixed it. Here we go. No, I have two. Okay. Well, at least I can laugh at myself. So,
Right? Yeah.
we're talking about what we're here talking about is in the moment being in that oneness versus duality. And what does
Mhm.
that mean? And what does that look like? And it's important to really talk about, over the weekend, we had, 4th of July, and there was a parade, and, Highland Park, and how awful the whole thing is, and the fact that not just the tragedy of loss of life and all that went on, and the perceived freedom that seemed threatened, and so many different things. I mean, but just the statistics of in the United States, right, as of now, there's over 300 mass shootings this year.
Yeah.
It's July, and when we think of that and we think, okay, so how do we heal this? How do I live in this and to be aware of it and pray for the peace and know the peace and be that peace when I'm distracted by the circumstance? How do you do that?
Hmm. Years of practice. It really is a practice, and for me, it's wanting to be neutral and and honoring non-attachment to my life. So being in the world and being of the world. So for me, my go-to spiritual practices, of course, are meditation, spiritual mind treatment, also known as affirmative prayer, and just the allowing of conscious conversation to happen in my mind without limiting my own thinking. And so we often come to a place of frustration because we are first limiting our own thinking, limiting our thinking that this isn't going to change. We keep seeing this happen and this isn't going to change. And so I've already affirmed this isn't going to change. So what am I telling myself now? I'm not worthy of change? Well, that's not true. God is always changing. God is always evolving. God is always growing because it's in its nature. And so if I am that, then it's in my nature to grow, to evolve, and to change. And so placing my faith in the wholeness of humanity versus placing my faith in the individual because I might not be able to trust individuals because their words and their actions lead me to believe they are untrustworthy. But I have faith in humanity as a whole because we are one infinite wave. And so if you look at history, it's a pendulum. It's the left and it's the right. It's the left and it's the right. It's forward 2 steps, backwards 1 step. It's forward 2 steps, backwards 1 step. But we are always moving forward. And we do this in our own mind, in our own experience. So getting back to love is my only responsibility, because if love is what I want in this world, then it starts with me. I am the pebble in the ocean. And so I can acknowledge what's happening outside of me and say, wow, this does not look loving. And I can still know that God is love. I am that. And I return to love. I don't need to like what is happening. In fact, anger can be quite useful in change. But for me, it is returning within myself so that I do not become rageful, so that I do not become the violence that is in the world within my own body. If I am turning inwardly and saying, I'm not enough to make this change happen, then I am causing myself suffering and pain. And I am not doing this work in the world I am called to do, which is to be love, to be loving presence. That's my call. Other people have other calls to be. So for me, it's always about getting back to neutral, to be in that place of, I see what's happening, and what is mine to do in that is to hold in consciousness a firm, faithful expression that loving presence is my belief, and that I have that power. And that's a part of hopefulness too, right? The seed of hope. If we don't have hope, there will be no change.
Hope is a miraculous gift.
Hope is the first step. If you can't have faith, have hope.
Yes. Yes. And we have a comment that I wanted to put up. Thank you, Linda. It says, at times it seems inadequate. Prayer seems inadequate given the circumstances. My faith says it's enough, but intellect argues. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I have that same argument in my head all the time, hon. It is, right? We always, it's coming back to that consciousness within you. And so that argument is like, let spirit win. That argument within yourself.
Let
spirit win that argument within, because we get overwhelmed as a human being in this human condition. I know I can get overwhelmed. Like when someone is telling me, oh my goodness, my 8-year-old has cancer. That's not like that. That's not something that's just going to be okay in the heart of compassion. And so, but I can't do anything. I can't physically do anything. What I can do is, I have absolute faith that spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer can heal any disease, any illness. I have seen it work in my life, right? I have healed depression, which is a chemical imbalance in my brain, healed from my faith. And I have seen cancer and tumors disappear through prayer. And so these little pieces of evidence that allow us to learn and to provide proof in our own consciousness that even this one little prayer is a drop in the bucket. Even this one little prayer is helping the whole of consciousness, because if my thought is on prayer and faith in the goodness and the love, then my mind is not in the conflict or the anxiety or in the suffering and the pain. So we can't be in fear and in love. And so if all we can do to in this moment for ourselves and for the world is to pray, at least it's a drop in the bucket of that infinite well of consciousness. And that is the way we are doing our part. If I can't do anything else, at least I have prayer. And prayer could be, what's my next step, God? Show me my next step. Show me what to do, where to go, who to give money to. Show me where my skills can be used. Show me where I can speak truth on the corner and stand with free hug t-shirts. Show me what's next.
What's mine to do?
What's mine to do?
That's one of my,
Yeah.
what is mine to do? And another thing we were talking about earlier was being in a place of understanding that joy and happiness are not the same. We often use them interchangeably. Joy is inherent. It is a divine attribute. We can't have a little bit of joy. We either have it or we're not experiencing it. One of the other. Whereas happiness comes and goes. Happiness is a flow. When we buy things, yes, we may feel happy in that moment of whatever that distraction is, but it is not a lasting thing. Joy is something that's always existing. It's just a question of whether or not we're experiencing it. What's your experience of that?
Oh yeah, having 2 decades worth of experience with depression. It was that search for happiness. That I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy, and it was fleeting. There was these little, there's days where you could have, barrel full of laughs, and the next day the depths of despair. But finding what brings you joy, that's duplicatable, right? So joy is something that is a part of life's work, I think. And finding those expressions of joy, those are moments that you can, your body temple just can resonate with again and again. Oh, there's some joy. And sometimes joy, it comes in hard packages, because there are people in this world who, it brings them joy to be working in soup kitchens, or, fostering dying animals. To other people, oh, how could you do that? It's devastating. You're in that environment all the time. But that's also life fulfilling. And so, yeah, joy, I just feel like joy is more long-lived, duplicatable, embodiment. And happiness is, opening a brand new box of crayons, and that someday, you could even get sad before that box is empty, because the box is going to be empty. Oh, I'm on my last red crayon. Right? So.
And there's things that can tap us back into our joy. So for me, blowing bubbles, like the kid comes out,
Yeah.
and it brings me that joy. It's not just that it makes me happy in a moment. It's that it reminds me of that childhood joy. I know that it brings me back to
Well, and it's transferable in that way too. Joy is transferable, because you pull out bubbles and then hand them out to everyone around you, and they're sharing in your joy.
Yes. And we get to be that. So it's not just through prayer that we can be the change makers. That this show, and which is finding the joy in the journey, and the peace circle are for that, to be the change that we wish to see in the world. And wake up and say thank you. Your show, with it's about gratitude. When we're in gratitude, we are in that place of joy, because we're understanding that, what, look at what I have. Life itself is a gift.
Yeah.
And our perspective, to me, is everything. It is our perspective on any circumstance that determines our level of light.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We give everything meaning, and we do beat ourselves up because we think we need to have this big master plan, and we think we have to have the big sparkly actions that are going to change the whole world. But what if all you need to do is hold the door open for the person who's coming in behind you? What if that's all you did today, was thinking about someone else enough to hold the door open, right? It's amazing how small an act can make such a huge difference. It might just be you smiling at someone
Yes.
who hasn't received a smile in days.
Looking someone in the eye and acknowledging them. How
Yeah.
are you? And
Yeah.
really just taking a moment, just a moment to wait for an answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you see all these? I see all these little videos these days about people behind the camera are just filming someone and saying, "Oh, you look so great in that shirt. I love your hair today." And people are just like beaming after that, like this. Someone's noticing me. I'm not alone in this world. Someone else can see me, and that's really what all we're looking for as human beings, right? Being seen, being heard, being observed, that recognize that somebody is seeing me. I am not alone today. I mean, that if we were just more kind to one another, the whole
Yes.
world would change.
And that's ours to do. So
Yeah.
how can I get out of my, sometimes it's got to get out of my own way, but
Mm-hmm.
also be in that bigger picture of remembering. So when I watch the news and I see things that really disturb me, I go
Mm-hmm.
back to the truth that there's 7.5 billion people they're not reporting about.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are plenty of things that happen that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of things that go on that may disturb my peace if I allow it
Mm-hmm.
to. When we live at the surface, we're easily disturbed.
Mm.
When we are at the bottom of the ocean, when we are in the stillness, in the depths of spirit, it's not easy to be disturbed. When we practice, that's what spiritual practices are, is
Mm-hmm.
getting ourselves to that stillness, that deep within, so that we are not swaying with the wind,
Yeah.
because we don't even feel the wind. We don't even feel the tides when you're at the bottom of the ocean. You don't feel anything. There is no sway.
Mm.
So it's learning how to really put the depth into our spirituality, into those practices,
Yeah.
as opposed to just talking about them.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to go somewhere on Sunday or just listen to a message and, oh, I'm done now. That's great in
Mm-hmm.
that moment, but how do we sustain it? How do we carry that out? I think that
Yeah.
all of the tools that we use, it's like a bank account. And when we need it, that's when it's there. It's there. We may not see it, we may not know it, but in those moments, the more spiritual practices we have, the more tools that are in that we have to be able to use and have been using. When something occurs, we have that depth to be able to go back to truth
Mm-hmm.
or never leave it.
Or never leave it. Yeah. 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 I think, the positivity teaching is different than the science of mind, right? If you want your life to change, it's more than just changing your thinking, because you can change your thinking every single day. But are you deepening? Are you acknowledging your true self? Are you deepening your personal and intimate relationship with the substance of the divine that is within you? Are you remembering who you are? And we live in a world where very much, and we're gonna get into some stuff now. I might put my feet places, but that we are surface people, where we spend billions of dollars in fashion and cosmetics, billions. But we aren't willing to spend $145 on a class to deepen your relationship with your own being.
Or time, or take the time.
Or take the time. And so is your priority, where is your priorities? Where is it? Like you say you want a better job that fulfills you and that, has a better paycheck and that your employers treat you well. And yet we allow people to treat us poorly because we don't step up to our own plate and say, I'm divine substance here. Why are you speaking to me this way? And it's
We have to
often
own
because
our
we speak
worthiness.
to ourselves this way,
It's our
right? So
worthiness,
it is about
understanding it.
deepening your practice, deepening. It's not about widening your reach on social media. It's about right here, right now, deepening who you are in your own awareness. Because your magnificent mind is the key to unfolding everything. Knowing who you are, knowing deeply who you are, is the gift you are giving the entire world. And we often lose ourselves. We lose ourselves in relationships and friendships. We lose ourselves in jobs, and we stay and we stay and we stay, even though we know we're hurting ourselves in those experiences. So it really is, what is your priority? Do you want to deepen? Do you want to expand your life? Or do you want to take the same amount of time to whine and complain? Right? This is this is
Well,
this is the work.
and
It's called
sometimes,
practice, right? Spiritual practice, because it really is work. We're doing homework.
yes, and sometimes people don't realize they're in it. Sometimes
Mhm.
you're so far in it that people don't get it, and it's
Absolutely.
when we're living in a world that only lives externally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being in that aware of and realizing when we have those moments of awareness, saying, wait a minute, who am I really?
Mm-hmm.
Living authentically. I would venture to say a third of the population doesn't know what that means. Really doesn't even,
I would up that.
at least I was being
Yeah.
kind. I
Yeah.
mean, literally has no concept of what that would
Yeah.
even mean.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't mean that you tell people off. That's not authenticity. It means really being your true self, that divine nature. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying a third that means 2/3 know how to be it. I'm just saying that they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Authenticity is who you were born to be.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, you were
divine
born
spark
with the
that's you.
light of your soul already within you. Already within you. And like we've been saying, it's conditioned into us to be, subservient as a woman, or to be quiet as a child, or we're all shh. The world is shushing us, and so of course it's hard to find out who we are until, for me, I mean, over 2 decades of depression and anxiety was enough for me. It was one moment when I was like, enough, right? And so when we hit those moments, I also have a background in over drinking, alcoholism, and those kinds of experiences. And there's no way, if I didn't hit rock bottom, there's no way I would have bounced back. I would have stayed right where I was, because I was comfortable in my stuff, comfortable without needing to change. But sometimes it's hard situations that birth joyful, loving expression that lasts a lifetime.
Yes.
So yeah, it really is. It's and that's why, when we learn this stuff, that's why some of us get super loud about it, because it feels better on this side. I had all that depression, I had all of that anxiety, I had that pain and separation in my life, so I could know what this was, what my purpose was, who I am to be in the world. And so, being radically grateful for that experience allows me to now have this intimate, beautiful relationship with what I call the Holy Spirit, or where presence, or infinite consciousness. All of that is right here. I always point here. My mind is actually everywhere, but I tap here because this is where thinking, it's easy to acknowledge, right? People need to.
And we are live, so if anyone has comments or questions, we would love to hear from you. And
or disagree with anything I have to say. I love those conversations too.
And it really, we've been talking about living in oneness versus the duality, and really finding a way to authenticity, and understanding that we have an ego for a purpose. And that ego in our society is very much bigger, better, faster, more. But if you're not happy with this, then what makes you think you're going to be happy with that? That destination happiness doesn't work. So it's, who am I? It's my job to make me happy. It's no one else's job. And it's not my job to make anyone else happy. Being kind to someone doesn't mean it's my job to make them happy. It's just kindness. When we are living in that place of friendship or love, or any relationship, we are in that place of, yes, give and take, and it is partnerships, and it's wonderful. And it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I was raised to be a caretaker, so I would do and wonder why people weren't reciprocating. Or they'd try to reciprocate and I didn't know how to receive it because I wasn't taught that was my role.
Right. Finding our own value.
So there's so many layers and things that on this spiritual path we go deeper into. The science of mind philosophy is for that reason. It's, it is science, it is religion, and it's philosophy. So we're looking at things from different angles, and we're tearing it apart, and we're looking at it and saying, well, what does that mean? And what does that look like? And how do I get there? And we have practical teachings that we can explain, that can be understood. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to, but it's really all love. And it's about being and not doing.
Yeah, being and not doing. Yeah, for sure. And, quite frankly, each of us is the most interesting person we're ever going to meet. And we don't take the time to know ourselves. And so when we take the time to know ourselves and know our preferences and know who we are shifting global consciousness, because we're locking into place this one all willy-nilly light that was going all sporadic with depression and anxiety is now, no, I got this. I'm in the place and space where I am. And you will find that if you are willing to dive into your own mind, you've got fascinating, interesting conversations to be had with your own divinity. And to just be open to having those conversations with yourself, so that it's easier to have conversations with other people. You won't lose yourself in other relationships if you know you will never lose yourself within your own mind. When you know who you are. Oh, who is this? I can't say his name. He is the Monkey King in the Hindu faith. When I don't know who I am, I serve you. When I do know who I am you. And that is oneness. If I don't know who I am, that's duality. That's if I don't know who I am, I'm not going to be willing to get to know who you are. And that's separation. That's division. When I know who I am you, because there is only one.
Yes.
And so, when we take back all the layers, and like you say, there's only love, right? So if I know what love feels like, if I have been unconditionally embraced, then I know what it feels like when you have been unconditionally embraced. When I know what joy feels like inside my body, then I know what joy feels like inside of your body, because there is only one. There is only one. And so when we realize that on the dark side, right? If I have pain inside of my body, inside of my mind, I know what your pain feels like. And we think we can't relate to someone else's pain when they've lost a child to cancer, or when they've lost a limb in a car accident. But pain is pain. And if you are feeling it, then I know that pain within me too. And I don't have to lose a limb to acknowledge that we are one in that. You know, we are one. So all of that, if we just recognize that the surface is there, but there's so much depth to everything, and it's all one thing.
That helps us back to that place and experience of happiness and joy, is when we realize truth helps us to stay in that steadfast place.
Yeah, steadfastly facing thee, there is no matter. A little Emma Curtis Hopkins there for you.
And it's hard to believe, but we are definitely, time is flying by as always. And I want to mention again that this is, this is your ministry, One Love Awakening, and it's oneloveawakening.com, and bridging hearts, awakening minds, and transforming lives. Absolutely beautiful. So you have a few things that are going on, and they continue to go on and will continue. So this is your soul community.
Our beautiful soul community.
And you have Monday Musings and Soul Connections. And what are those?
Monday Musings is the first Monday of every month, and it's led by some of the leaders in our community. And it is like a spiritual living circle. So they read an article or something from the Science of Mind magazine daily guides and discuss, how do we make this practical? How do we make our spirituality practical in our lives? How do we not just read something, but how do we put it into our lives and grow with it? And we have community connection night, and that's just a casual gathering and enjoying each other's company, getting to know one another in the community. And I do want to say too that we have the soul community is in a Facebook group, so people are welcome to join and participate and engage. We share. I think my mom is probably the biggest sharer in the group. She puts out multiple inspirational posts every day, and really leads the charge in that and keeping us all connected.
Oh, wonderful.
So we are wanting to grow that Facebook group and expand what it is we do, because we really are bridging hearts, awakening minds, and transforming lives. And that's not a one-person job. We are a community of just good people walking each other home. And so those are our two.
That's our goal with life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just walk each other home. Make sure we get home safely. Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, Wake Up, Say Thank You is every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Central time, where we affirm life's good together. I do a little pep talk, a spiritual pep talk, and a spiritual practice with everybody to get us into our day. And one of my favorite things on earth is Wednesday evenings. I facilitate deep soul meditation. And so my mom says that is like putting yourself in a big bowl of cosmic Jello. Her words, not mine. And so it is deeply delicious. It's I'm an intuitive empath, highly sensitive. And so that is an hour long, and it's intuitively led. So whoever's consciousness is in the room is what is feeding that meditation. And then I do spiritual mind treatment and healing work for everyone who's in the space as well. And that's just by donation. Information is on our website.
Thank you. Thank you for that and all that you bring to the world. Zoe actually he actually has one of our newest shows. He's been amazing. He's on our prayer team as well. And that his new show just started last week. It's Choice, Your Creative Superpower. So people can check him out. And of course,
Nice.
I have his comment blocking him. So we want to let people know when it is. Thursdays at noon Mountain Time. And yes, Zoe's comment. I look each day for something beautiful, something that brings a smile to my face, something that makes me laugh. I'll be adding something that brings me joy. How true is that? Something that brings me joy. And really acknowledging it. When we acknowledge joy, when we live in that place of looking for it, it shows up more. That's the gift of it. Anything we focus on grows. So it is so important that we remember that and choose consciously. So I am so grateful that you spent this time with us. And I'm grateful also to Thought Media Network for having this platform that gives us the opportunity to be here and have these conversations. And people can reach out to ntmedia.org, click on the donate button. Actually, there's a lot going on. We've had 3 or 4 new shows in the past week or so that have started, which is exciting. And there's so much happening. Our website is blowing up with good stuff, and just want to make sure people know that they can reach out to us. This is the way to donate. You can do a one-time offering, or it's something that you can continue. You can do a monthly. But thank you to all that have made it possible for us to be here today to talk about, being in the world, but not of it. For being able to see and acknowledge what goes on honestly, without spiritual bypass, to really have those tough conversations. And I cannot think of anybody to have a better tough conversation with than Rev Steph, who's been here with us. Thank you so much. And for those of you that have not checked out Wake Up and Say Thank You, look it up on YouTube, on Facebook, and really the One Love community. It is virtual, so wherever you are, you're welcome as well. So oneloveawakening.com, you can find out more information about that. And I also want to mention that if people want to reach out to me, know that you can reach out to me, send me an email if you have questions, or if there's a suggestion on a show or an idea. I'd love to hear from you. It's Gina@believeinouttoday.com. So thank you so much, Rev Steph, for being here with us. And I'm so excited for the new stuff you have coming. And it's top secret. You wouldn't even share it with me. So soon enough, that master that is within you, that, what a gift it is to witness what you are bringing forth.
Thank you.
Your authenticity gives others the freedom to be their authentic selves. It is so important that we don't need to change for anyone. We go within and know the truth.
You're already God. What more do you need to become?
And on that note, I am so grateful. We're going to end it on that. I wish everyone a wonderful week. Blessings and love. And I can't wait to have you back again to hear all about all the changes that may have been. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Blessings and love. Thank you for being here. We'll see you soon. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Namaste.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment